Welcome to the OSBT Standard Operating Procedure 009 Safety Agreement Employee Education. The purpose. This procedure establishes a method for notifying partner and other technicians of the HSSE procedures that are requirements required in order to be issued a work order to perform work or conduct business for OneSource Building Technologies. Specifically, this procedure provides for an exchange of information or incident reporting, emergency evacuation, job safety analysis, PPE, exit interview, and the use of equipment, as well as other safety and environmental related issues. Reference. This procedure covers all partners and technicians and others who perform work for OSBT, as well as all employees who are authorized to deal with outside partners on behalf of the company OSBT. Responsibilities: Health, Safety, Security, and Environmental Team. Provide a workplace free from serious recognized hazards and comply with standards, rules, and regulations issued under the OSHA Act. Next, we want to examine the workplace conditions to make sure they conform to applicable OSHA standards. Make sure employees have and use safe tools and equipment and properly maintain this equipment. Use color codes, posters, labels, or signs to warn employees of potential hazards. Lastly, we want to establish or update operating procedures and communicate them so that employees follow safety and health requirements. Responsibilities continued for the Health, Safety, Security, and Environmental Team. Provide safety training in a language workers can understand. Develop and implement a written hazard communication program and train employees on the hazards they may be exposed to. Lastly, we want to keep records of work-related injuries and illnesses. Next, we have responsibilities for the managers and supervisors. The responsibility is to ensure that the partners and technicians and/or employees are aware of the information contained herein and to issue a work order when all requirements are satisfied. Implement, train, and manage partner provision of the HSSE Policy. These include management leadership, working participation, hazard identification, hazard prevention and control, education and training, and program evaluation and improvement. OSBT HSSE Program includes topics and contains more information, including examples of operation and reporting systems that have reduced workplace injuries and illnesses. Responsibilities for the employees. The responsibility is to ensure that the partners and technicians and/or employees are aware of the information contained herein and to issue a work order when all requirements are satisfied. Responsibilities for partners and technicians. Partners are responsible for signing a safety agreement, signifying they have read and understand the requirements before conducting work for OSBT. Reporting incidents according to the OSBT Standard Procedure 001 Incident Reporting. Responsibilities. Continued. Partners and technicians are responsible for calling the OSBT Call Center upon arrival to check in and out and conducting an exit interview at checkout. They are also responsible for complying with the OSBT Safety Program. Also, they are responsible for safe work practices, which are always communicated via work order. Lastly, the partners and technicians shall participate and cooperate in safety meetings. General requirements. Before work at OSBT, the partners and technicians must be aware of the safety programs with which he or she will need to comply. The partners and technicians must acknowledge the receipt of this information, agree to abide by its provisions, and accept the responsibility for informing his or her employees who will be performing work at OSBT. OSBT will make available to any partners and technicians upon request copies of applicable safety programs in effect at the facility in which work will be performed. Depending upon the type of work performed by partners and technicians, are required at minimum to have the following programs: certifications and agreements available for review or demonstrate that they have read and will comply with the applicable OSBT HSSE Program.
OSBT Manager and Project Coordinator. While you are working at OSBT, you will be assigned a project manager and an OSB project coordinator per work order who will be responsible for your on-site operations. Should you have any questions about these procedures or any problems or concerns that arise during your visit, discuss them with your OSB project coordinator first. Safety programs. Other safety programs in place of facilities is the responsibility of the OSBT Project Coordinator to ensure that you are informed of any additional programs or procedures that may affect your work in this facility. In absence of a qualified written OSBT program, OSHA standards will apply. Specifically, you cannot agree to bring machinery and equipment into this facility that does not meet OSHA standards, and further, you agree to perform all aspects of your work within this facility with full compliance of OSHA engineering and performance standards. Safety programs continued. Not all unsafe conduct and circumstances can be anticipated in written programs and regulations. Therefore, department supervisors have the authority and responsibility to put an end immediately to any situation they consider unsafe. While you are working at OSBT, you will be required to follow the directive of any member of OSBT management in this regard. Any concerns about your safety you may have or unsafe conditions you may observe while working on your facility should be immediately reported to your OSBT Project Coordinator and OSBT HSSE Manager.
Incident reporting. Partners and technicians are asked to inform their project manager and/or project coordinator of any work hazard or unsafe work practices according to Standard Procedure 00100 Incident Reporting. We encourage all partners and technicians to inform the call center, their project manager, and/or project coordinator without regard to how small it may seem. Every technician must report to his or her project manager and/or project coordinator on any work-related injury, illness, exposure, or near miss by the end of the workday. In the event of a serious injury, illness, or exposure incident, the employee's supervisor, or other designated individual must immediately notify the Injury Reports Administrator or a member of the HSSE Management Team. We define an injury or illness as serious if it requires inpatient hospitalization for a period in excess of 24 hours, an employee suffers a loss of any member of the body, or an employee suffers any serious degree of permanent disfigurement. Personal protective equipment, also known as PPE. You are responsible to provide your own personal protective equipment. Beyond the office areas, safety glasses with side shields may be required within the facilities. Additional safety equipment may be required, depending upon the type of work being performed and the requirements of an individual contractor's PPE program. Hazardous communication, also known as HAZCOM, Standard Hazardous Materials Identification System. Labels are used on all containers of hazardous chemicals and substances. Safety data sheets is available for all chemicals and substances used at the facilities. If your work requires you to bring hazardous chemicals and substances into the facility, even on a sample, trial, or temporary basis, you must supply your SDS covering the material. You are only permitted to bring hazardous materials into the facility with the understanding that you will promptly remove any unused or unwanted quantity at the job site. Next, we have the Emergency Evacuation and Fire Prevention Plan. Partners and technicians must sign in and out upon entering or leaving a facility. The emergency evacuation procedures are posted at several locations throughout the facilities. You are required to become familiar with these procedures prior to working in the facility. In the event of an emergency evacuation or take shelter, you are required to report to your OSBT Project Coordinator once you have safely exited the building or taken shelter. All contractors will be informed by project manager about flammable materials that are used or stored in the areas or the facility where they will be working. Any contractor that brings a flammable material into the facility must submit a list of such materials to the project manager and plant manager immediately. First aid. Adequate first aid supplies are available at the facility and can be used by you in case of a minor injury. If medical attention is required beyond first aid, notify your OSBT Project Coordinator or the OSBT Call Center. Also, in case of an extreme emergency, you can contact the local emergency responders by dialing 911 from any phone. Before emergency services arrive, direct them to the building entrance nearest you. Partners and technicians shall have a portable first aid kit in their vehicle. Job Safety Analysis, also known as JSA. If a work order documents a job site hazard, partners and technicians are required to perform a JSA, Job Safety Analysis or Job Site Analysis. See Standard Procedure 007-00 JSA. The JSA is used to help identify and prevent a work hazard. The assigned OSBT Project Coordinator will provide a JSA if one is required. Partners and technicians must submit the completed JSA along with their signed work order at the end of every work order. Take a moment to review the JSA form. Exit interview. Procedure is designed to monitor health, safety, and environmental performance of employees and partners to ensure compliance and behavior-based safety compliance. Exit interview questions. Number 1. In your work environment, did you identify any health, safety, or security issues? Number 2. If no, no further questions are necessary. Number 3. If yes, please describe the health, safety, security, or environmental concern you experienced. Document word for word and continue to question 3. Number 4. Were you physically affected in any way? Number 5, if no, end safety questions. Number 6, if yes, did you require first aid? Transfer to Incident Report Administrator or a member of the HSSE Management Team. If you answered yes. This concludes Safety Agreement Training. Please copy and paste the link. This concludes the Safety Agreement Training. Please copy and paste the test link into your browser and begin the quiz.